Hey guys, Kavone here, and I'm going to bring you another level 96 Slayer guide. This one's going to be on ACHERON MAMMOTHS. I'm going to butcher that first name. So, in my opinion, these are one of the easier of the level 6 Slayer mobs. That being said, they do have quite a lot of, well, they do have some risk, some KO potential. So you get there by going to the Fremnik Lodestone, going directly north, and you'll find this boat and you'll be able to go on to the iceberg. Now the iceberg itself just has mammoths. It's never crowded, honestly, and there is no like environmental mechanics or anything. They're not aggressive, so it's just you against the mammoth. You'll have to be careful not to AoE because you don't want two on you at one time, but I don't believe that they're close together that you can actually AoE them. So, the inventory that you're going to be wanting to take, you're going to want to take an overload, prayer pots, and then obviously food. I'd recommend taking a bone crush and charming imp as well. And in terms of beasts of burden, well, in terms of familiar, you can take a combat familiar. It'll be quicker kills, but you have to do more trips. Beast of burden, you can manage more kills per trip, but it's going to be slower per kill. If you do use a yak, make sure to take some winter storage scrolls in case you somehow manage to kill them without using food. In terms of gear setup, I take Torva, Augmented Torva. I feel tier 80 power armor is sort of the best tier because tier 90 is just too expensive to use here. It's not needed, but at the same time the defense is sort of kind of nice here, and the damage bonus. That being said, I haven't seen many hits actually miss me, and I know the range attack can't actually miss. So, in terms of weapons, they are weak to stab damage. In fact, they have a mechanic which doesn't allow you to use ranged weapons or magic. So, you have to find them in melee. So, I'd recommend Drygores. Drygore rapiers are going to be the best item, best weapons at these. But even if you have long swords or even maces, I'd still recommend Drygores if you have them. The twin blades, like dual wield, is excellent here. The twin blades from Twin Furies are good here as well. After that, any kind of spear, any two-handed weapon with stab is going to be good. So like the Mizuari, the Sun Spear. I guess the Sun Spear is a little bit low, but it would, I mean, worst comes to worst, and that's the only thing you have. In terms of aura, I'd recommend Vampirism Aura. Reverence and Penance are decent, but honestly, I feel like Vampirism Aura is the best here because it allows you to sustain a bit more. Whereas, I mean, Penance and Reverence, you can sort of use prayer pots for those. But like, if you use those auras, it won't make your soul split any better. It'll just mean you can use tier 95 prayers without using prayer pots. In terms of other items, I'd say honestly just take a Sign of Life as well, because these have a really nasty combo which I'll talk about later. It doesn't happen often, but it's worth knowing. Now you may notice there's a lot on screen. Mammoths are not as complicated as they look. So they have a standard melee attack which hits up to 2k. They also have an additional standard attack, which is a ranged attack, where the animation is that they'll pick up an ice rock and they'll throw it at you. This deals up to 4k damage, does ranged damage. I hear it's possible to dodge it. I've never actually managed to dodge it, honestly. I usually just tank it, but I mean, it can save you a lot of food if you do manage to dodge it. Also, if you're hit by it, there's no chance of blocking it. It's 100% hit chance, even against like tier 90 tank armor. So another thing they have is a mechanic where if you're not in melee range, they can disable your prayer, and it will look like the ranged attack they do, except they'll throw 3 at you. If you're hit by 1, you will have your prayer stand off. Note this isn't a disable, you can turn them straight back on after, but usually this tends to happen to me usually if I'm using slaughter and I'm walking them. They also have freedom, so if you stun them, they will use freedom against you, but they will do it after sort of half the duration of the stun. So the stun still works, but only half the duration. So you may think stuns are useless here. I'll get into why they are useful later. Now, as for their abilities, they've got one which there is literally nothing you can do about it. So it's not even worth knowing about it. That's Sever. So they also have Smash, which will disable your prayers for a few seconds. Now this has some really nasty combo potential with their charge attack, which I'll cover after, because honestly charge is their main mechanic. They also use Adrenaline, and once their Adrenaline bar is full, which is never, I've never seen it fill before, they'll use Pulverize against you, and it works the same way as yours. It deals a huge amount of damage, but it also reduces your damage dealt to them by 25%. And then, of course, they have Charge. Now, Charge, the way you know they're about to do this is they'll stop attacking you and they'll start sort of shaking, and you'll see this blue bar above their head, and this means that they're about to charge. Now, their charge will hit upwards of 8k damage, and they'll hit melee damage. Now, this is crucial because you can protect against melee. So when they start charging this, they'll charge you up to 3 times in a row from this channel. So obviously, if you're unprotected, this will kill you. But normally you can be protected because it's quite easy to see when they're about to do it. So what you normally would do is you'll protect against melee, and if you can, your devotion. If you can't devotion, if it's on cooldown or something, use debilitate and anticipation, but make sure you've got that protect melee prayer on as well. Now, one nasty combo that they can come up with is that their smash and charge are on completely separate like timers, which means they can use smash immediately before charging, and if they smash you immediately before charging, your prayer will not be up to avoid the charge. So this can deal a lot of damage. Now, there are ways to deal with this. You could take a shield switch with you, and you could try and resonance, but there are 2 more charges after that first one, so that might not be ideal. Now, you remember earlier when I said that they use freedom, so stuns might not be effective because they only last half the time. Well, if you stun them whilst they're charging up their charge, it will interrupt their charge cycle, and it will completely end it. So they will not charge if you stun them. Even if they free them after, that will interrupt their charge. So save Destroy for this, because Destroy is a reliable stun and it deals a huge amount of damage. Now, obviously if you're saving Destroy, you need other thresholds, so I'd recommend Assault, and also something I use a lot here is Slaughter. I slaughter them, move 1 space back, so they'll walk forward and they'll start taking moving slaughter damage. Now, the other thing with charge. Now, if you have no prayer available to deal with their charge, You don't have anticipation, don't have debilitate, and you don't have enough adrenaline, or your destroyer's on cooldown. There is one last alternative to avoid that charge. You can dodge it. Now, dodging it is much harder, and it's not so reliable because they do it 3 times and you can get disorientated. And if you get hit by one, it's 8k, 8,000 damage. So you can avoid it by running perpendicular to where he's going to charge. So he's gonna point his charge at you, and he's gonna charge in a straight line. So you have to run at a right angle, so you run left or right whilst he charges, and he'll end up missing. You have to do this all 3 times because there are 3 charges. The other alternative, well, like, whilst you're doing it, you probably are better off just spam eating as well, but just in case it saves you. Now, this is also why you've got Silent Alive. This combo can be utterly deadly, and this is honestly how most people die here, if not everyone. Their stun attacks don't do much damage. Now, in terms of loot, they're pretty good loot. I mean, the mammoth tusks seem to drop reasonably often, and they have other sort of noted stuff as well, and they drop rune items. And they don't take too long to kill when they're on Slayer. So, I honestly, they're one of my favourite tasks now. Just, they're still a good challenge, but they're more laid back than Ripper Demons or Living Wyverns. Or even Camel Warriors. Like, Camel Warriors are just a nuisance. So, yeah, that's going to be it for my video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this helpful and useful. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.